Listen to my heart whenever.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Sword Art Podcast. As always, I am your glorious Finn admin host, Shark, and today I've got my co-host Ruby and a special guest, Jomei. Thanks for coming on the show, guys.
Every podcast I progressively get more tired.
Well, I think you should probably do something about that, Pete.
I'm probably going to have to start drinking coffee.
I mean, I've got one right next to me. I'm pretty sure Jomei's got something.
I just have iced tea.
Oh, dude, you're slacking, man.
Also, when are we going to finally replace my picture from Beatbox or Ruby?
I don't know, did you update yours on the site?
I've been updating mine.
Oh, I just haven't paid attention that much. I'll replace after the show.
Ruby's a female.
Hey, man, don't judge. People don't judge.
2018.
So what have you guys been up to today? Or like, how's your weekend going per se?
I fixed my computer. Put an SSD in it.
Nice. What size?
I don't remember what size it is, but it's the oh, what is it? Let me look it up. It's a Samsung one. Samsung SSD. Quick Amazon search on. Oh, it's the 860 Evo.
Okay, nice. That's a good pick.
Yeah, it's a pretty good one.
What about you, Jomei? How's your day going?
It's going alright. Mainly just took a walk, just enjoying the nice weather, but aside from that, pretty much was just getting ready for this.
Nice. How's the weather?
Oh, it's gorgeous. It's like 60-something degrees.
Oh wow, that is pretty nice. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
I'm just enjoying it. Enjoying it before it decides to drop down into like the 30s and 40s again tomorrow. So.
Yeah. See, my day like that was yesterday. It was, or no, 2 days ago. It was, I don't know, 60. It got up to like 63, 64, and then we just got spat on rain, and it just got cold. So it's now like 30 something.
Yeah, it's 43 here in Ohio. It's just really cloudy outside.
That's a bit rough. So, anyways, if you guys may have noticed around the site notifications and various other notifications about the podcast, this one will be taking a slightly different approach as to how we go through our agenda and talk about some talking points. We did recently take a poll to see what you guys would want to see on the podcast, and we took that into consideration. And that's how we ended up with this new agenda. So we'll go through, we'll just go through and talk about the multiple different points brought up by some members in that post, and we'll go from there. So we have Jomei today, and he is our new lead of floor development, and a lot of this discussion will be focused around his expertise and what he knows, to see what he can give us to I don't know, some fun news or whatnot around the world of Aincrad. So
Basically means I'm talking less.
yeah, I don't know. You can just jump in and ask some other questions that we may or may not have listed. Jomei, speaking of, so we're recently in the 422 boss fight. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So
I lose track of the numbers sometimes.
yeah, no kidding. You're not the only one. So regarding floor 22, is there any type of quests on that floor that have been, I don't know, kind of interesting lately?
On floor 22, we have I'm trying to think. We have the Witch of the West, which came back when we had the patch come out. We re-released it onto that floor because that's the canon floor that it was supposed to be on. I know that originally we had that quest out on another floor, but I think when it got revamped, we hit it for a bit, fixed it up, and then replaced it on that floor. A quest that I had thrown together was King of the Lakes, which is based off of of course, the episode in the anime where they fished up the King of Lakes. That one needed to go through a bit of revamping after I released it at first because I didn't realize how terrifying I made the boss. But
Well,
that one's fixed now. Lastly, we have another one that I give credit to Hestia for. I don't remember the exact name of it off the top of my head, but it's
what we fight for?
that's it. Thank you very much. What we fight for. It's pretty much just straight role play. It's
No SP rewards. No
no
actual-
SP rewards.
It's mostly story.
Exactly. It's mostly just for fun, just for story. But it's got a nice, interesting little got a nice gist to it that will let the players go in and they kind of experience some memories from the real world and all that. So
Oh, nice.
I mean, even though that it doesn't give a big SP reward, it's probably a nice thing that if people are just looking for character development in their story, it's a really good idea to go and check that one out.
You get SP for the thread, but you don't get SP for the quest at all.
Yeah, I think the reward that you get is, of course, it's a roleplay item. I believe it's like a framed picture of a memory from the real world or something.
Okay,
It's along those lines.
that's pretty nifty to have.
Yeah, it's a nice little change rather than just fighting a boss or
Right,
just
exactly.
finding materials. It's just strictly a roleplay quest, which is nice.
Nice, yeah, that does give people a little bit more leeway to go through as they see fit or take a different approach, and it looks like the opportunities are endless, really.
Yeah, exactly. I still have yet to take that one, but that's just 'cause I just haven't gotten around to it much.
Right, I feel you. So, is there any kind of upcoming quests or events for Floor 22 that could be seen as intriguing?
Not right now.
No, yeah, Ruby's right. Not at the moment. Definitely since Floor 22 played a big part in the series, I do want to do something. I haven't thought of an exact thing yet, but thinking about it, I do think maybe basing it around that one episode, something that has to do with like a fishing contest might be a good idea. Just mainly just a little festival, some fishing, like a little contest. So I think that's something that we can maybe throw together that might be a good idea, something different.
Yeah, that sounds like it can be fun. Trying to get something that's not something that's out of the ordinary and not what your typical event would be. That's pretty cool. And then what about is there any kind of old quests you guys are going to revamp or update to match with, I don't know, the current system or whatnot? Because I'm sure we've got some old quests that haven't exactly been updated for whatnot.
Yes, I believe.
A
think
lot
that's-
of the quests with the current patch have been updated. If there's maybe one or two that were missed, it's a possibility, but for the most part, most of the quests have been revamped to the new system.
Okay, that's good.
I mean, of course, I'll always go through and I'll see one thing that we missed or something along those lines.
Right, there's always that one thing.
We're always human. We're always gonna miss something.
Exactly, and we're only going to get more and more quests, so that's only more and more pages of things to go through.
Yeah. So I mean, there's probably some stuff that we as staff can work on to make that a little bit more. What's the word? A little bit more useful or convenient for everyone looking at the quest sheet.
Speaking of which, this would probably be a good time to say, hey, we need more people to make quests. Apply the staff.
Yes, actually, he's right. We could use some more quests. I mean, I'm coming out with some every once in a while. Hikoru's been a great help. Itzel's been a great help. Everybody pretty much has been throwing in quests, but we could always use that extra hand to really get some out because we can't release a floor unless we have quests. So we gotta get some of those out.
Well, there you heard it, folks. If you're interested in helping out the quest team, send Jomei a quest or get in contact with him, and you may end up submitting a staff application to me, and we can get you working on some quests and events and everything of the sort. So if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to apply. Let's see here. In terms of floor 22, how would you? Well, speaking that it's a canon floor, is there anything different that you guys have put into 22 instead that's different from the canon to give it our own kind of touch?
I don't
Nothing
think. I don't think.
Someone talk.
You go ahead, Rube.
I'm like off the top of my head, I don't think so because in the production when I was making it, like I had Itzel basically just go through all the places of interest that we saw in the anime, and I don't think we really added much else to it that was not different. I don't know if Lemon or Jomei worked on it any, but when I was working on it, I basically made it based off of the anime.
Okay.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Looking through it, I didn't see anything that really strayed too far from the canon.
Okay. So that floor stayed pretty much as is, as was described in the canon.
Yeah, I mean, since it was probably one of the most explored floors in the anime. I mean, I didn't read any of the novels, so I'm not sure if they did any ones differently. But that's really one that they kind of showed the most, I guess. So that's one that we were really able to just. I mean, I'm sure Ruby can mention it as well. That's one that they were able to just completely just base it off of what was already given. Whereas other ones, like the first floor, even, we have the Town of Beginnings, we have all that, but then there's other parts that we kind of just had to make up because, and when you look in the anime, the world looks a lot different than what we're showing.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the actual anime, it only shows like specific floors. It doesn't really give us a glance at all of them. The light novel kind of gives us a little bit of insight to what everything is, and I'm actually making floor 25 to what the light novel said, which was a gigantic maze. Like the entire floor is just a main settlement, just one huge maze. But there was like in light novel, even the floors in there are like not even very well described. It just gives them a basic description or just like places to go and doesn't describe what else is in there. So basically, we gotta improvise a lot.
It always seems to make things fun though. Now moving forward, is there anything you can tell us about? Since we're in the middle of the boss raid, is there anything you can tell us about the upcoming floor 23?
I'm actually very curious about floor 23, like as in how people are going to perceive it, because it's very different. Unlike, I'm not gonna go too much into it because I want people to obviously be surprised, but unlike most floors where it's pretty much just clean cut, you go like you have your main settlement, you have this, you have that. This one has a lot of lore behind it, and it really shapes what's going on with the floor, what's going on in the settlement, what's going on here, what's going on there with the NPCs. So it's gonna play out a lot differently than other floors have. And I'm really excited to see how people play that. I'm really hoping that people read the description so that they don't only get an understanding of what's going on, but also know to not kind of break the one or two small rules that I asked for that floor, which people will see when they read it. But I'm very excited for it. I worked closely with Taeyeon on that. She had the original idea. I looked it over and I said, but what if we did this? And changed it up, got the okay, and that floor is pretty much good to go, quests and all.
Oh, nice. That's good to know.
Yep.
Only one thing missing is I think we still need to make the labyrinth boss. Like, we have a field boss, but we don't have a labyrinth boss to block that the frontliners need to defeat. So that's the one thing that I'm going to have to work with my team next week to get that out so that we don't have to worry about that floor anymore.
Yeah, good move. And so, speaking on the staff standpoint, how far ahead are we? Because I know I want to try and stay a couple floors ahead of the frontliners. but how far along is that?
We're looking pretty good. Floor
Quite a lot
24,
more.
floor 24, we pretty much have the description down, which that's one that I'm hoping people will be very excited for because it's bringing back something that we've like thrown into floors multiple times, but they always got retconned because they weren't canon to that floor. And this one, it's finally canon to that floor. So that's one thing that people will be able to
Okay, nice.
people will be able to role play out that people have been trying to get actually on a floor for a while. And then of course, Ruby's working on 25, which is looking pretty awesome so far.
Yeah, I'm I can talk a little bit about it since you can look it up and you can basically find out what it is. It's just one gigantic maze, and I'm just trying to expand upon it a little bit more. I'm also wanting to put in some like special game mechanics to make it work, to make it seem more like you're guiding through a maze and you can end up lost or something like that.
Okay, nice. So it sounds like it's gonna be pretty fun.
Yeah, and I also have like a basis of what the big boss dude is going to look like. He's going to be extremely scary because he is the floor 25 boss, and every 25 floors, like a super scary boss appears.
Ooh.
Because 25 and 50, those were like hard bosses, and then 75 was the Skull Reaper, which we all know basically killed a lot of people without even trying.
So there you have it,
Right.
guys. We're ending at 75 because that's when everybody's going to get killed.
And then of course 100 gets through. We have Shark. Wait.
Shh. You're not supposed to tell him I kill him.
Oh.
Come on, guys. What
Uh-oh.
the hell's wrong with you?
No, it's actually Jomei.
Yep.
It's actually Aaron. Let's be real.
Okay. That's 401.
Aaron has to come back to roleplay as the final boss. How interesting would that been?
Oh, that would be interesting. But I think aside from floors, just because floor 25 is obviously going to be a big one with the boss and everything, that's pretty much where we've stopped so far. We'll probably try and get some small descriptions out for try and get 26, 27 maybe, but 25 I think we're probably going to be working on a lot so that we can make the boss not only scary, but make sure that we still have some frontliners left afterwards.
Yeah,
Now-
I also have like a game mechanic I want to try to make work in that, which I need to speak to Jomei sometime about it. I don't really want to go into detail about it, but I think it's pretty good.
Okay. And so it sounds like we're making a good amount of progress regardless of the short hands we have.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say short. I would just say,
No, we're a little bit
Yeah,
short.
a little bit shorthanded.
okay. When it comes to the actual floor development team, yeah, it's short-handed. But when it comes to actual staff, I'm busy, really.
I'm referring to the floor team.
Yeah.
We're a little shorthanded.
Yeah, just need
Okay,
people
fine.
dedicated to working on that stuff. But no, it sounds like progress is being made, and there's a lot to look forward to in the upcoming floors. Now,
Yes, definitely.
have you guys began basing it off the floor level instead of the player level?
For 25, I could say it's based off of the floor level, which is 25, and in canon, it's just harder. Like, it's just way harder than most floors are, but we'll see. I don't know about the other floors, but 25 will be basically just what it's supposed to be.
Okay. So it sounds like it'll be a bit of a challenge, but people will be able to fight, so that'll be good. And so, moving on, going into just a little bit of, since the boss thread is currently underway, is there any kind of anything? Well, frontliners can't really use this information as it's past the thread start. But is there regarding bylaws? Is there anything that would stick out to them that would be more of a challenge than they realize?
Realizing that having heavy armor and two-handed weapons is actually I don't want to say a downfall, but it is more. It can be more of a little bit more of a curse than a blessing, and a lot. I think people are learning that a lot of the skills and tactics that people have used for past bosses are not working as well in this one, which makes it interesting. But I mean, it makes it great because obviously a lot of people are kind of looking at it like, oh shoot, like here I thought I was going to be completely safe like the last two bosses, but now I got something to worry about. But it also makes it a little bit difficult to control because um, when you're used to somebody either completely eating up an attack or dodging an attack, now nope, everybody's taking damage on this. So, but it's making it very very interesting that some of the things that would normally keep somebody safe are now messing with them.
Okay.
And also, I'm sorry, also the fact that survival plays a very big aspect is also something that I'm sure people weren't expecting because, I mean, it's an environmental effect. Survival protects against environmental effects, so some people are thinking they don't want to spend that extra 3 SP to get that skill, but in the end, it's what 25 damage difference, which in the long run could be a lot. So
Okay. So it sounds interesting. Sounds like it'll be a bit of a challenge to watch out for.
yeah, a little bit, but at the same time, everybody seems to be getting through it pretty decently. But canonly, can in the canon,
Something around there.
thank you, canonically, floor 22's boss was supposed to be a little bit easier, which it is in terms of
The floor in
like
general.
the floor in general is easier. The boss is a little bit easier, but obviously we couldn't make it a cakewalk for people to just get right up to floor 23. So it's got
Right.
to be a little bit difficult.
True. Anything else in terms of bosses, whether it's bigger bosses or event bosses coming up?
We were gonna do an Easter boss, but after all the events that happened, I'm just like, it's the least of my worries right now. Um, but I do want to do some boss, just a random event boss, just to have one soon to make up for it. Basically, I'm like trying to work it out just to show Jomei about it. But it's a work in progress.
Okay. So it sounds like
Yeah,
there's more to come.
I definitely do want to try and throw out some event bosses here and there. Not even ones that have to necessarily do with holidays, just like surprise events that come out.
Right.
Just
Exactly, just to do one, give everybody a chance to do something rather than just the frontliners to fight the big boss. Give everybody a chance to fight something. So
Right.
it's definitely something
that's a
that
good move.
is on my list to look at, but just haven't yet. Still testing the
I'm-
waters of this position. So
I'm working.
Sounds like yeah, you're starting to get the hang of it, which is a good thing. So moving forward, we do have. Well, I mean, we haven't really had many recent donations. The only one that I can so far attest to is the fact that we
You
do
forgot
have what?
You forgot like the health restored, most damage done, and stuff like that.
Well, that was in the recent boss. We'll go there in a minute.
Okay.
But we have had we haven't really had many recent donations, but we do have Percival on our monthly donation plan. So thank you to Percival, and
Lost 2.0.
and we do use that money just so you guys are noticed in the donations and recognition story. We do say what that money is used for. It's used to fund the site, domain, pretty much everything. So our owner Aaron does not have to pay out of pocket. So we thank each and every one of you for your donations, and hope you continue to support us throughout the rest of our time on the internet. So going back to it, there was some highlights of the recent boss raid, and Ruby, you wanna go on and talk about that?
Oh yeah. So we've done the calculations. I double checked them last night just to make sure that they were correct. They are. We know the person who's done the most damage, which won't surprise anyone. who has taken the most damage won't surprise anyone, but the person who's second is actually kind of a surprise, at least for me. And we know who restored the most health, which is no surprise. But for most damage done, we have Beat with 1,185.
Nice.
The way I can really describe that, and the reason why he's doing so much damage, is because he has the basically the most bursty DPS build you could probably have, which is you just full on focus on your damage, go into two-handed assault spear, have charge, get all these different buffs, and then just attack forward. And he just does way too much. I wouldn't say too much, but he does a lot of damage that way. In second place for most damage is actually Macrodon with 784, and I believe he uses two-handed straight sword.
Okay.
For most damage taken, guess who? It's Calrex. I mean, can you be surprised? He's taken 675 at the moment.
Now, is that mitigated or unmitigated?
I think that he's taken 675 like most mitigated. I want to say, or like has mitigated. I'm unsure. But in second place, that's actually me. I have taken 550 damage.
Jeez.
I've taken 2 discharge effects, which is 100, and that's unmitigatable. I've taken a 200 shot. I've taken other static charge effects. It's just Ruby's having a bad day.
Not as bad as Shark on what, floor 6?
Probably not where you can hit. And then most health restored, it's obviously Sandra with 1,137.
Oh wow. That's pretty big.
In second place again, it's me with 964.
Really working them pulls.
I mean, I'm just trying to be a healer. I'm way too much damage for my own sake.
That's a bit rough. So, in regards to the stats, how far are we along with the current rate?
Well, in the if you look at I'm not revealing the actual health because that was a something that we changed up for this boss fight because in past boss fights, as soon as people saw the numbers, they would think less about the role-playing aspect and focus more on the last hit reward, which a lot of us were not happy about with the last boss because a lot of people would hold off on their attacks, wait for somebody else to attack, and it would just make everything run a lot more slowly. So for this one, if you look, you just see the health bars. But if you look, we're pretty much going into that last health bar soon. Probably after the third group goes through, we might be dropped down into the last health bar. So we can see this fight wrapping up.
I mean, at least if people are like not attacking because it's too low, it's probably because they're RPing that they see the actual health bar being low. But why would you do that?
Oh, so I mean, it's definitely an interesting aspect switching to just the health bar instead of the numbers. So I personally kind of like that move.
Oh, I mean, going back to canon, you didn't see the numbers; you only saw the health bars. So
yeah, that's another reason why I like it. I think it was a good move. So let's see here. Has there anything been able to highlight in the recent raid? Like, has there been significant amount of damage done by someone recently?
Well, again, like Beat has been doing a lot of damage with his two-handed assault spear, bursty damage. However, when it comes to other people doing damage, it's mostly just a lot of people have done their charge, and then that's it. The only one that has been keeping really a stable form of damage is Macrodon. Everyone else has been either missing or just haven't been able to really put out the same amount of damage as they could when they had charge.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So let's see here. the next thing we want to talk about is going into like kind of like staff work. There was a tease been made by our PST lead Hestia, who was working with some other members in the Seven Wonders of Einkrad. Now we have a quote of what these what is entailed with these 7 wonders. Well, there are only 7 wonders spread out among the total 100 floors. However, we do have mysteries for each floor. The wonders being things that won't have a conclusive answer, like it's open-ended to allow thoughts and theories type of deal. But mysteries will be things that have a conclusive answer, but go through a process of trying to solve it. With the main focus of solving the mysteries being revolved around RP, and maybe some loot die rolls, shouldn't expect many actual mob fighting. That is the image we have for the mysteries and wonders, and that was quoted from Hestia. So, hearing that, what are you guys' thoughts on this upcoming 7 Wonders project?
I've actually seen it, so I can't really speak much about it.
Jomei, being the floor team lead, what are your thoughts on having the 7 Wonders Vinecrad?
I think it's a good idea because it really, again, it gives people another reason to go back to those beginner floors, or whichever floor that the wonders are on, and roleplay them out. Go actually explore them, figure out where they are. I haven't looked too much into it since Hestia had shown it to me a couple months ago. And I honestly just got caught up with a lot of other things, so it really didn't pop up again until I'm pretty sure yesterday. I think he might have posted it. But it's definitely something that I want to look back into because I like the idea. It gives people another thing to go look for, to explore, to another aspect to throw into their roleplay, more story, which is something that
we didn't really focus on for a while.
It's something that we really want to start to include more so that it's not just go to a floor, do the quest to level up, fight the boss, move on. Because we got to remember, in the end, this is a role-playing site. So we got to make sure that there's story for people to engage in.
Yeah, and on that note, I mean, we're as staff, we've had a mini project put on the back burner for quite some time due to the lack of staff available on the floor team. That being said, we are looking into some kind of lore development. So if you like doing quests or whatnot, you do need to be on staff for a little bit longer to get the position, but that's only for heads. So I mean, if anyone has any interest in working on lore development, contact myself or Jomei, and we'll see what can be done. Because I know that's something that a lot of people want to see. Isn't that right, guys?
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
So I mean,
everybody has their own little stories that they're playing out, but it'd be nice to be able to see everybody come together for something.
right, which is why we're trying to push out this lore development, so we have an overarching theme going, and that'll give a little bit more roleplay fluff to people, and can easily see how that would go into multiple different directions.
Yeah, exactly.
So, any last remarks on the 7 Wonders or lore development?
Nope.
No, that's pretty much it. I like I said, I gotta look back into the 7 Wonders and look more into the lore developments as well. But no, I don't have anything else to say.
All right. Well, it looks like we're gonna have some fun with the 7 Wonders as they begin to be more developed and released to the open public.
Yep.
So, as you all have been noticing, we have had a Minecraft server in the works, and it's starting to come along really well and look really good. Not really much I can say about that, but if you're interested in helping develop that site, contact me, and we are always looking for staff for the Minecraft server. My goal is to have a different staff on that than the site. That way, it makes things a little bit easier on staff and spreads out the power a little bit. Have you guys taken a look at the Minecraft server at all?
Not within the past few weeks. I've just been kind of burnt out in Minecraft.
I do not. I don't even think I have Minecraft on my computer to be able to check it out.
Well, I do post update and post pictures in the Minecraft section of the Discord. So that's always a fun place to keep in touch with how our progress is going.
I will definitely check that out so I can see how they're looking. Because I'm very interested to see the maps that you guys create, and I saw that you guys were almost finished with the first floor. So I definitely want to take a look
We're
at those pictures
about
and see it.
well, I mean, we're not really almost finished with the first floor. We're about 60% with the starting town. The spawn has been fully completed for a while. Now we're starting to place buildings and other shops in the starting town, and then that should be wrapped up pretty soon. I'm about 80% complete with the overall floor border, so it makes it that circular kind of look. And it is a pretty big floor for those of you that know Minecraft. It's a 1,000 by 1,000, or it's 1,000 in diameter, so it's pretty big.
That's 1,000 blocks if you don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I mean, there's gonna be quite a lot to do. Let's see here. Moving on. This is the Q&A section, and
We don't have in here, but we do have one question that's really good.
yeah, we do have one question from Macrodon, who posted to my status when I asked for people to give thoughts and opinions and see if they have anything that they want to ask. So he says, "What's gonna happen to Death Adder? He's like the odd guy no one really likes, but I want to know more. Anything
The
you guys
biggest-
can share with that?"
The biggest thing is that Death Adder was originally made by SAO, and when direction was shifted to me, I wanted to give him more of a presence. I wanted to give him more of an overall story. And when I received that, it was very mixed. It was like a lot of people were saying his journal and his actual story wasn't really overarching very well, or his actual goals are actually very unknown, which no villain's true goals are actually really known. And right now, we don't really know what we're doing with them right now, but I do Jomei, please.
Yeah, it's something that another thing that I had honestly completely forgotten about, just because it's been so quiet with him. And then with the, I saw that question, and then it kind of hit me, and I went, oh wait, I got to figure out what's going on with him now. I want to plan something with him. Obviously, during the last fight, we kind of put him in a situation that would have him disappear for a bit, mainly for the reason that Ruby was just saying. We just didn't know what was going on with him. Things were just all over the place. We made this incredibly powerful character for this reason, and it was supposed to be for this reason, and so we kind of knocked him down a few notches so that we can figure out something, and he's not just this overwhelming force that everybody just wants to hunt down. So I do plan on, that's another thing that I do want to try and plan him into story somehow. Similar ways to how we in the canon have, what do you call them? Laughing Coffin. Similar way. Not necessarily make him straight up going around player killer, but make him a feared force in Aincrad. So I definitely do want to try and make him more of a story aspect rather than just somebody for people to hunt down and kill.
Okay, so it sounds like there's some good plans for him that will not make him necessarily dedicated to one side or the other, but just, kind of a force.
Okay. We have another question from the same person. Monthly event bosses, what's the status? Did that project die? The answer is yes, it did.
Currently, yes. It's something that we can look back into, but at the moment, it's not something that we're doing.
We are looking to do more event bosses, as we mentioned before, but monthly bosses, that project right now, that's dead.
Yeah, that's largely due to just the shorthand of the floor team, isn't it?
Yeah, and then just most of the previous unorganization, and really we want to try to find a system that works. So
Okay.
I'm thinking once we have once we're a few floors ahead, once we don't really have any major events coming up, once we have the quests for it, this and that, I think then we can start looking back into monthly event bosses, especially if we do get more hands on the content development team. It's something we can look into it until the things that we definitely need are down packed and ready to go.
Okay. So it sounds like there's still something. It could possibly make a return, but we're not gonna give anything definitive quite yet.
Exactly.
Right now, we're not really focusing on that.
Okay.
We'll get something out there.
Maybe. If anyone is interested in coming on the show live and asking some questions, feel free to hop into that call-in section of the podcast channel and Discord. So, anything else you guys wanted to discuss as we moved through the topics we originally had planned?
One thing that I did actually want to bring up, I wanted to bring it up earlier when we were talking about quests. One thing that I know Balder had asked of us, and it was kind of brought to an attention, was basically making like a sticky thread where not only does it have the quests, but they are organized by level, because people won't know what level they have to be to take a quest until they click on it. So as soon as we saw that, we all kind of realized it was a great idea. So we jumped on that. We're in the middle of developing it so that way people would just go into the thread, say, all right, I'm level 35. What quests can I do? And all those quests will be there. They can figure it out. They'll see which ones they should stay away from because they could die, or the ones that are too easy and they won't even be able to hit 5 posts in it. But
you can also look back at the quests that you haven't done yet and just get them done. But
Okay. So it sounds like
but
there's
if you
progress
see,
being
if you see like a quest that's like level 50, you probably shouldn't do it.
made. Right.
Like level 10, you probably shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And it kind of prevents people from just kind of like, well, it's kind of harsh to say this, but it's kind of like wasting their time looking at the quest. But it's a little harsh to say, but you know, when you can't do it, then why do you look at it?
Right. I don't know, just speculate.
Yeah, I know it's speculate, but like, you know, if you're just looking for a quest to do and just looking to look to see what you can do, and that you just open up this really hard quest, it's like, well, I opened one that I can't do.
gives people something to work for.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes things more fun.
Exactly.
Let's see here. So anything you guys have just trolling throughout the forums and role-playing, any fun adventures have you guys been on?
Ruby, not really. I mean, I haven't posted in a while, mostly because of things and loss of motivation. But beforehand, I basically had more story going on in Ruby, which SDI has been a part of.
Okay. What about you, Jomei? Have you been role-playing at all recently?
Very slowly. I kind of took a little bit of a break for a while. Just things got very, very slow. I stopped opening up threads mainly just so that I can get a bunch closed, and I was just getting busy with some real world stuff. And of course, right now, trying to also focus on just getting these floors ready, mainly focusing on the GM stuff. But I'm hoping once the boss kind of calms down in between, I can jump back into things, start role playing again. But at the moment, nothing too crazy.
Okay. So, slowly but surely, and having some fun.
Yeah, trying not to drop off the grid again, as I have in the past. So
Truth.
We've all fallen off the grid before.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
just
also
trying
true.
to not do it again.
I'm basically already falling off the grid. Within a few podcasts, I'm just going to be here.
Well, I guess there's not really much else to talk about, unless anyone has some last-minute questions that want to be asked. But I've been waiting to see that for a while now. So it looks like we're about that time to wrap up the show. Well, guys, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and Anything else you want to say to the listeners?
Please save me. I'm stuck in Shark's basement.
I,
Address is 123
I cannot
help.
confirm nor deny that statement.
Address is 123 help.
What a strange address.
Hey man, when he asked for the shipping address, I gave him that, and somehow his packages show up, so we just kind of roll with it. So, as always, thank you for listening to the Sword Art Podcast. Stay tuned to the site calendar to see when we will have the next podcast. And as we get close to the summer months, it's going to be a bit harder, so I may take a poll to see when people are interested in moving the Sword Art Podcast to. So, if you need any help with anything, please contact a member of our player support team, or if it's an account-related issue, feel free to contact me. And we hope to continue we hope you continue your support, and thanks for watching.
The feelings I kept deep inside are now screaming at the top of their